self-aware, perceptive, critical person, except often when it comes to dating. At that moment, it's like a train wreck is coming and I can't see it, and there's friends on the sideline with red flags like this, and I'm like, that's a nice parade. And so this particular version of such a thing happens where most things good/bad happen on the internet. Anyone in here do a little internet dating? Don't be shy. I see a hand. I see some clapping. Okay. That's right, on the OkCupid. So tonight's story obsession is dedicated to someone I lovingly call Donkey123. It's not her real name. It's not even her real fake name, so it's like not just anonymous, it's like meta anonymous. So she contacted me last spring, and it seemed that she had done a very thorough reading of my profile, and had then also done kind of like a Venn diagram analysis of her life and my life, and found a lot of overlap, which she then detailed for me in a 5-paragraph essay to me. And I was reading it, and I was like, you know what, that should have been the first red flag, right? A little over, too much. But I was like, oh, she has some really good wording, and impeccable diction will really overwrite any kind of creep factor for me. So I was like, cool, sounds like we have a lot in common. Let's hang out sometime. Send. About 7 minutes later, she wrote me and said, what are you doing tonight? And I said, oh, I'm going to an art event downtown with some friends. We should totally hang out sometime. Send. And I go off to my night downtown at the William Way Center. When I get there, I take in the surroundings, and it's full of friends and former lovers and former friends. And as I'm really looking at the scene, I get a little tap, tap, tap on my shoulder. Turn. Oh, to my surprise, Donkey123 in the flesh. She says, I figured this is where you'd be. And again, should have been some red flags, but I just chalked it up to sheer coincidence. It's like, cool, small gay world. Great to see you. Have a wonderful time enjoying the art, and let's totally hang out sometime. Right, sometime, which means some other time. It doesn't mean this time, right? It means now. I thought I was being very clear, which is why it was very strange for me that later in the night, as I was, taking in an art exhibit, I got a little tap, tap, tap on my shoulder. Turned, and who should it be? Thank you, Donkey123 right here. She said, I saw you standing here alone, and I thought I should come over and begin to have a non-consensual first date with me. So she starts blasting me with first date questions. Where do you live in Philadelphia? What do you think about being a teacher? What is your favorite piece of art? And because I'm from the Midwest originally, I'm just a nice guy, so I was just like answering the questions, which I think she misconstrued for a green light and consent to having a first date with her here in this art space when I'm with my friends. So she continues with that, and before I can be like, boundaries, she's like, I saw your stories on the internet. They're very good. She's referring to past stories, and I was like, that's weird. I don't think I even told her my real name. So, as I was trying to understand how she could have found me without me telling her my name, she could probably read that on my face, and she was like, I'm a lawyer from New Jersey. I find people. That's my job. And I was like, oh, I should have been like, this is creepy. I thought you were very funny. So I was like, oh, well, at least she thinks I'm funny. This can't be so bad. And then she goes in and starts talking about OkCupid. And excuse me, people who are online daters, it's like first rule of Fight Club. Don't talk about OkCupid if you've already made it to first date, non-consensual, albeit as it may be. You don't have to talk about the electronic vehicle that got us to this place. Let's let it go. So she says, isn't it really weird that people internet date? I think it's really desperate. And I was like, is this person on our non-consensual first date calling me a loser? But before I could even say it and be like, that's the line in the sand, buddy, she says, are you Jewish? And I was like, I didn't know where this one was going. Yes? And she says, cha-ching. Your hotness factor just went up 5 points. And I was like, you know what, buddy? It's been real fun. I gotta go. And so then she looks at me as I'm about to leave and says, oh God, it's because I'm so intense, isn't it? I'm so intense. You think I'm intense? And I was like, no, you're not. You do. You think I'm intense. Everyone thinks I'm intense. I can't get anywhere. And I'm like, Jesus, codependent no more. I've read it, but fine. Stranger, donkey, 1, 2, 3. Let me manage your emotions for you. No, I don't think you're intense. I just wasn't really expecting this. You know, yes, you do. You know, she's like swirling into this abyss of bad, and I was like, I know. I'll just tell a joke. And I was like, you know, I read this article that I think you really might like. It's called, Where Have All the Neurotics Gone? And she looks at me, death stare. Are you calling me neurotic? No! No, I'm calling me neurotic. And she says, do you think that's funny? I said, yeah, sort of. And she looks at me and she says, this date is over. We will never speak again. Goodbye. And she turns around and walks out at me. And as I stood there and I was like, wait a minute, I just got broken up by donkey 1, 2, 3. And I'm the one that suffered the indignities here, not her. Why did I get broken up with? And as I was about to storm out and make right this injustice, I got one of those flag wavers. One of my best friends grabs me and was like, what happened? I told her the story and she says, hey, let her go. There's plenty more donkeys in the sea.